crystal cracking from the Safe and Sound event. I'm going to do the Autobots this time, so it's probably going to be about 30 minutes. I noticed in the last video that I accidentally had the game music a little too loud, so I lowered it for this one. I will increase it a little bit. Let's see if there's an easy way to do that. There we go. Not too loud. So on this account, this one has my Autobots as the main. Pretty much, I think all I'm missing are, 4, maybe 5, 4 stars. I think I got all the 2 stars, and I'm missing maybe 1 or 2, 3 stars. Some of these things I have to double check. I remember for the last event from last month with the Swarm, like they released, what was it? A few different bots, right? Oh, hey, I got someone. That's lucky. Now, even though Smokescreen is great, I have his 5-star, so I'm not going to go too crazy with him. I will level him, but yeah, fingers crossed he's going to be strong enough to be inside of dispatch missions. I'll end up seeing. I mean, with him like one-shotting, whether it's an outpost bot or a combiner, it's invaluable, but it took me time to get my 5-star Smokescreen to be that strong. You know, I can't, or at least I don't want to crank this guy up to, like, you know, a special ability 8 and maybe like level 55 with his at least a gold core to get him to that point. Especially, like I said, since the 5-star can already do that, what I would rather do is use that spark and all those cores to level up other guys. Eventually, we'll get Smokescreen to be just as strong, but priorities are new bots, not existing bots, from where I stand at least. A little bit of the thing is I just thought of how, like, I have blades in that same scenario. I have the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5, and I got blades his 4-star first, and it took forever to get him to the level where he can, or example, right? Like now he can go into a base, and if the spider mine is in range, and he connects with it with a special, that Spider-Man's gonna end up, exploding. So similarly, trying to get Smokescreen to that level will take time and spark and cores, and like that type of energy I will give to Smokescreen, but I will rather prioritize other bots that I haven't played with yet. But I'm very happy that I at least got 1 4-star, because if you saw the last video, I think it was 100% dupe. So let's see, if I remember correctly, so there's Smokescreen, I don't have his 4-star, I don't have Drift's 4-star, I don't have Impactor's 4-star, and Twin Cash just came out, so I don't have his. Those are the guys I know. There's probably a few others, but those are the ones that I can think of really quick. Just saw Ultra Magnus right there. I recently got his 4-star. wondering how much effort I should put into Ultra Magnus, because I think like at lower levels, when I used to have his 3-star, I think I would just shoot his special twice before it got too expensive. Drift is kind of fun. I saw him a second ago. But I think after you use him like 4 times, his special 4 times, that's when it becomes a little too expensive. And his health is low. So I'm not I really don't see him at high levels. So I'm not sure how much I would crank him up. I can't remember the last time I saw his 5-star version. Like whenever my base gets attacked, I do take a look at the specs of the attackers. And, you know, like I see Warpath often, I see Blades often, but I do not see Drift that often. Like the balanced players don't choose, you know, the extremes on individuals. Like they won't pick like a Drift because he's heavy offense, right? What they'd rather do is like get more tanky people with the medic at those higher levels. For the longest time, whenever somebody rolled into my base with 2 medics, it was like a guaranteed loss. Now just, you know, like years of tweaking the design and, you know, Space 8 making the right defenses and the right balance changes, I do survive better now, but it's not like 100%. You know, all I know is like if someone breaks my front base, the front of the base, where those major defenses are, where the walls are, then it's pretty much over. Then I just hope that my Titan survives long enough, survives the battle, and then he can start attacking the people attacking me. Alright, so judging on how long the last video was, that was about 30 minutes. So I'm betting this one's going to be 30 minutes. And then on top of that, when I get certain things, because it's my main account and I play Autobots more than Decepticons, I'll be talking a little bit more and like pointing some more things out. And so this video is probably, or very likely to go a little bit longer than 30 minutes. And I do appreciate anyone who's been, you know, sitting through it and watching the whole thing. Typically what I end up doing is I would just, you know, make a small little snippet, because I think what everybody finds is just watching the like one crystal open, like a 4-star or a 5-star, that probably works better than watching, you know, 340 duplicate premium crystals.
Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime. Attack. Roll now.
Alright, now that was 2 sets of just dupes. What I would love to see in the future would be how, you know how there's like open one crystal at a time or one chest at a time, and then they put in open 10. It would be nice if they had an option to just open all, you know? Just choose one of the 3 options. And in these big cases, it would be worth it. Oh, so we just saw Hound and Mirage. And now here's Ratchet. They were part of the original G1 series that we grew up on, Jazz. I don't really remember Alpha Bravo, but in this game, they made him a part of Superion, the aerial bots. Meanwhile, I don't think he was when he came to the original G1 cartoon show. What Space Ace ends up doing is they will kind of go back and forth with Hasbro on what they can and can't do with the toys and or sorry, not the toys, with the characters. An example was that, I mean, you saw, if you play the game, you see how Superion has Power Glide as their 6th member, and he turns into I'll jokingly call him a combat bot because he turns into a gun for him, but it was to be balanced with Devastator. And similarly, they did that with Leo Kaiser, right? Like, if anybody knows who he is, he was a part of Beast Wars over in Japan, not the American one. And he was a 6-piece combiner, but for Earth Wars, they were able to tell Hasbro that they have to make certain changes, and Hasbro, eventually gave the okay. I don't know if it was a 1, 2, 3 easy one, or what, had to be a part of that back and forth, but hey, it kind of worked out for us because the 5-star, getting 5 Transformers for a combiner is easier than getting 6. But what I would have loved to have seen is what was it? They reintroduced the missing Transformer for Superion last saga, and it would have been nice if he was somehow with Superion when we launch him. But they're not gonna unfortunately bring him back as a combat bot. But that would be kind of nice. I think it would be a cool idea if all of a sudden if they made like a medic related combiner, and that medic related combiner would be out fighting with your team already. Or maybe, just going back to the idea of having a combiner having a combat bot like Power Glide. Maybe you can have a 6th person just running around the field. You can only micro, maybe you can micro both of them. Why not, right? You go from microing 8 bots to 1 combiner, right? Or, let me add on to that. You're microing 8 bots and a Titan, and then all of a sudden when you deploy the combiner, now you're just microing the combiner and the Titan. So I'd like to say it should be easier if you're microing, 1 Transformer and the combiner instead of, 8, right? Or at least that's my thought process. Who knows? I still like my idea of a healing combiner. Now, there are tons of Transformers, but when it comes to Titans, there's only so many of them. And similarly, there's a lot of combiners, but it's not like there's proportion to how many regular Transformers there are. There's only so many combiners. So wonder if we'll see like every single one of them come to the game. Is that possible? Would we like to see it? Of course. Can the devs make it happen? Who knows? I'd like them to fix certain things before adding more to the game. Got to remember, this game is 6 years old. Like, the mobile devices have evolved a lot in just 2 years compared to, when, I guess, I don't want to call it the first smartphone, but like, we can use the iPhone as the barometer. When that thing came out in 2007, that was kind of like, a point in time, a changing of technology, a big change, right? So it's just like, hey, like whatever games were made back then was of a certain standard. So games made 6 years ago, same thing, it was made of a certain standard, but let's bring it to 2022 standards, make it look really nice. But even if it was just a graphical upgrade, would that be enough? If I had to guess, I'd have to look it up, but I'd want to say this was made, it looks like in Unity, but what version of Unity did they use 6 years ago? And if you look at like Unity now, could they crank the models up? They'd have to probably redraw them right from scratch, but like how close can they get it to what we have in our imagination, it wouldn't be at like, I would hope to never see the Bayverse of Transformers in here. But you know what? Yeah, I think I'd have to think about it, right? Like when you talk to other people about Transformers, they're not talking about the ones from the 80s, They don't really talk about the ones that was rehashed in the 90s. The original watchers don't really talk about that rebooted animated series, right? Transformers the animated series. A lot of them talk about the Bayverse movies. Some people talk about Transformers Primed. So maybe, that level of graphics? Transformers Primed? Maybe even bring some of them into this game? Who knows? Then there's robots in disguise. There's so many things. I was a little sad to see that we're seeing the consistent, like, dupes of so many of these guys, right? I can't even tell you how many times I saw Hound and Hotspot, Prowl, talked about Mirage who knows how many minutes ago. I just wanted to show the numbers really quick. I'm not saying I should get a ton of 4 stars, but there are other, like 2s and 3s that should be showing up as dupes. Alright, let's open up another one. I mean, for me to see more duplicate 3s and duplicate 4s, that ulterior motive would be to get new duplicate 4-star crystals so I can get 5-star shards. I think we've passed the halfway point. If I had to guess, I'd say another 13, 14 minutes, maybe 15. And these crystal cracking videos, unfortunately, they do take up a little bit of time. You hear that, duplicate sound so often that all of a sudden when you hear the small variance or the small pause, you get like this sense of excitement, which is very planned. Like all these game companies, they do their homework to find out what gets you. Then they double down on it to get you. I just saw Grimlock a second ago. It reminds me of Volcanicus. I'm lucky enough that I was able to unlock the 4-star version of Volcanicus, but he was the most fun to play with when it came to like certain lower level stages. Like I'd say like zone maybe 10s and below. But then when you get to like the higher levels, you don't really see him. So I'm happy to see that I'm getting, say like, like a dupe of Grimlock. But that combat spark, that combiner spark, it's not going to go to Volcanicus. It's going to go to somebody who's more viable. And I'll tell you straight, Magnaboss is more viable than Volcanicus. He's got a shield and he's got a good, I don't want to call it like a ground stomp, but he flies into the air and smashes his hands down, and that's very powerful. And then he shields himself. Depending on how you use him, you can probably do like those. I think it's zone 13s. I just stick with zone 12s because I find it's more effective whether you're trying to grind for XP or grind for alloy and energon, or when the events come around. What you're trying to do is get as many fights in as possible. Magnaboss works great because I can finish matches in 40 seconds, maybe 45 seconds, and then go to the next match immediately. It's very efficient. And then all of a sudden, like say if you get the Cyber Pass, you have 75 fuel to use. And you've done like 15 matches in that amount of time, in the amount of the 15-minute, actually more, right? My math isn't going to be exact. Don't hold me to it and don't yell at me for it. But when you like just go through all those battles and you win them and you get your not just your XP, but your total score at a certain level, you feel a little bit more accomplished. If you're in a team and you're like scoring 20, 25, 30,000, you're doing it right. The difference is that instead of using those very high teams, right? Which one's smart is like, hey, wait a second, I have teams that are 19,000, 20,000, 30,000. But if they go like the full 3-minute matches, the math to it isn't right. Because you use more time. The right math would be those quick matches. So all of a sudden you have a higher score because you got more battles done. Of course, my math doesn't work if you don't have the cyber pass or you're not going for a high score. Because like when these weekend events come, like we can use last weekend, this Safe and Sound event, right? That I think the score was just 10,000. So nobody needed. Wait, I can't say nobody. The majority of the players were able to finish the event without having the cyber pass or without buying fuel. But when you come to those larger events, say like it's a team event that you guys have to get to 1 million, 2 million, something like that. That's where it's like, hey, how do you get the most done? And the way you get the most done is by getting matches. You have to get, you have to successfully win a match in short time. Now the one good thing I'm happy about is like now these dupes, at least they're looking different, You got Drift and Laser Optimus. So it's showing it's doing more bots. Happy about that. More Transformers. Ooh, good luck crown. I don't think I can put this one on anyone. Typically all the silvers now these days I just, melt them down and put them into other cores. I try my best to max out the gold cores because it just goes to 15. But if I have a 5-star box, if I have a 5-star Transformer, I try my best to get that one to 20 before maxing out at 15. But really situational. I remember we can use Smokescreen as an example. I only had his gold core, and I think I had some other, like we'll use Noah as an example. I had his G-metal core, and like when you start getting to like 16, 17, 18, those things, it's a grind and it takes forever because now the upgrades barely budge. So it's easier to finish a 15 and feel accomplished than trying to get to the goalpost of G-metal maxed out 20. I just saw Hot Rod there a second ago. His ability 11, I wish I had a little bit of area of effect. What always happens with me is that the person I want to hit, when they're weak, the person next to them, they unfortunately get the protective shield. Seen Drift a handful of times now. I'm thinking about if I'd be happy if I got him as a 5-star. All 5-stars are good, but I will be truthful in saying that 5-star Drift is kind of low down the line for me. My next one, if it was possible to pick exactly who I wanted, I would love to get Strafe. From where I stand, the guys that hit hard from a long distance are the best guys to get. I mean, a lot of people will say like, hey, the melee guys are the best, or the mid-rangers are the best, gunners are the best. But no, to me, Sentius, Strafe, Smokescreen. These guys are great because they can shoot stuff and potentially take no damage. I remember I tried to shoot, I think it's Tantrum. He has a reflect with the smoke screen. Oh, that was a little painful to see because he can one shot, so he just one shotted himself. Sad. Good news is this is the last one. So right after this one, I'm going to cut the video off. I'll do my outro, of course, and then I will take a look to see what the next video is going to be when it comes to cracking some crystals. You can see right there I have some chests that I haven't opened yet, and your observance, you saw the exclamation point on the more gems part, I'm sorry, the more crystals part, so you guys can guess I do have a 5-star sitting there, and we'll eventually open that one. But I wouldn't give, you know what, like I have both Ratchet and Wheeljack. I would love to just, you know, get a G metal core of theirs. I don't understand why those are so hard to get. I wish Space Ape would somehow figure that one out. But that's something to talk about on the next video. I will be opening this one up. And eventually I'll be opening the core, which was the grand prize of the last event, the Safe and Sound one. But I do want to thank everyone for joining this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. Alright? Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe.